Hi, back after 3 weeks, but renovations are still ongoing. Hey, welcome to Christianity Out Loud. Welcome to Weekly Word. My name is Steve. Not going to be too long tonight. There's plenty going on, and I still have plenty of renovating still to go. Get some more done. So let's see. What's going on in the world? What has happened in the past 3 weeks that I haven't covered? You're not allowed to be a Christian here in Australia anymore. You can't be a Christian and work in a secular workplace. That's precedence has been set. You must choose between your workplace and your church. Thank you, Essendon Football Club, where apparently debauchery, overt sexuality and displays of sexual lifestyles, the mutilation, surgical, chemical castration of children, as well as the murder of unborn children, all of that is valued much higher than someone of the Christian faith. So they've made that well known. So that's cleared it up. Thank you, Essendon Football Club. Well done. On that, where's the Australian Christian lobby? They've been a little bit too silent, in my opinion. Little old me, not that old, little me, little channel, little following. I've been making quite a bit of noise. I wish some people who were significantly more influential than me were making a fair bit more noise. But hey, I'll make noise regardless. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, David Koch is a rubbish interviewer. I used to have respect for that man until he turned up and interviewed the pastor of the church that this chap who spent one day as the CEO of Essendon Football Club he attends. And David Koch hit him with all of the very same predictable, ridiculous questions and interpretations and ploys, and was just terrible. The rest of media here in Australia has predictably taken the side of the secular, as they do. They hate us as Christians, and this church, of course, holds inverted commas controversial opinions on abortion and homosexuality. I would have thought that most Christians hold those views on both of those topics, but as usual, the media just loves to take those two things and run with it. So well done, most Australian mainstream media. Gotta love it. What else is happening in the world? Well, Joe Biden, the so-called supposed leader of the free world, seemingly has lost the ability to count, which I would have thought is fairly fundamental if you're the president of anywhere, really, but particularly the US of A. The ability to count to 2 is probably a prerequisite in order to demonstrate your competence to do that job. Just saying. I have 2 words for you: made in America. I'm aware that I failed high school maths, but that maths doesn't quite add up to me. So who knows? 2 now means 3, apparently. Wouldn't surprise me. 2 plus 2 equals 5, depending on who you ask. Back home in Melbourne, Victoria, we have a childcare centre or primary school. I can't remember which, but they're promoting sex education and talking about sex and all of that to 4 and 5-year-olds, and then promoting all of this transgender agenda. So there's 4 and 5-year-olds going home and cutting off their hair and wishing they were boys and claiming they were transgender. And then the educational institution is beginning transition processes without informing the parents, as per the Victorian Education Department's own policies. I told you so. I told you that was happening. I told you that was going to happen, and I mentioned that months ago, if not last year. So, well done, Victorians who keep voting for Daniel Andrews and his madness, I would say. You keep voting for it. It's going to keep appearing there. Let's see, Russia is still invading Ukraine. A lot of people over here are still calling that unprovoked. Just shows how little history is actually taught in schools these days. Russia just bombed more of Ukraine and in fact I think blew up the German embassy. So the Germans are sending in air defense systems. So who knows, World War III may well be on the horizon. So plenty of uplifting news. That's sarcastic. There's plenty of terrible news, let's be honest, and a lot to unpack. But I'm not going to unpack that all tonight. Too much. I don't want to do a long video tonight or a long podcast tonight. I really just want to get back in the chair, as it were. It's been 3 weeks. I didn't want to leave it much longer than that. Otherwise, you get out of the habit of doing these things. But just a reminder, we as Christians, one of the most used phrases, passages of words, sentences, whatever you like, in the Bible, Old and New Testament, is actually either fear not or do not fear. And it was frustrating throughout the lockdown years. I refuse to call them COVID years. COVID was a non-event, really, for most people. Certainly was for us. Don't bring up the outliers to me. I'm talking majority of people. Throughout the lockdown years, I found that most churches, I would say, failed. They succumbed to secular reason. They succumbed to government authority when neither of those should really apply to the church, or I would argue by extension to the Christian. But I digress. Just a reminder that one of the most repeated phrases in the Bible is fear not or do not fear. Now, I'll just take that all the way to the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus just even softens it a little bit more. Do not be anxious. Yeah, don't be anxious. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Christians can't be CEOs, can't be in business in the corporate world, in the sporting world, in the secular world. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see the Anti-Discrimination. Let's see the Human Rights Commission take up the fight. I mean, come on, let's stand on the front line. Tell them it's not acceptable. Write to Essendon. Write to your local football club. Write to your national level football club. It's not acceptable behaviour. Okay? Doesn't diminish the truth. Just means people don't want to hear it. Okay? Dust your feet off. Move on to the next person. Next group. Don't fear. Okay? Christ will build his church. Okay? He ultimately does not need us, but Christ will build his church. Okay? It's up to us whether we want to be a part of it when he builds it. I certainly do. I'm going to continue standing strong. I'm not backing down from anything. And good luck trying to stop me doing what I'm doing. So, there you go. Fear not, do not fear, do not be anxious. And let's be Peters. Let's be the rock on which Christ builds his church. Until next week, you take care. God bless.